Chapter 19. The day I lost my virginity coincided with my first time drinking vodka. For natural and obvious reasons. Get 2 important adult milestones out of the way before college. It made perfect sense to me. Our ski retreat fell on the weekend after my 17th birthday. I felt I was ready to take the plunge into fully grown womanhood. Isn't that the way it's done? The rite of passage we all must take in life in order to achieve full-blown maturity. Our friends conspired to get my then boyfriend and I a little cabin to ourselves without teacher knowledge or interference. It was romantic. He lit candles, rose petals were scattered. I felt like I was on my honeymoon. I wasn't in love with him, but I did feel strongly for him. Wasn't that enough? We fumbled our way through this dance according to how we thought it should go. The only experience you have to go on your first time is what you see in movies or prior makeout sessions. I was comfortable with his body enough to know what he liked, but when the actual sex part came about, I was frozen. I did not know how to move. It was extremely painful, and I felt this tearing sensation. I did not want him to stop, though. I knew we needed to complete the steps in order to have fully participated in this rite of passage. In reality, it was over pretty quickly. I was relieved and horribly embarrassed at the same time. It was nice to get it over with and out of the way. I could mark that off the checklist to adulthood, the list I had to complete before setting foot on a college campus. At this rate, I would be done with it all before senior year. I mentally patted myself on the back for a job well done and rolled over to go to sleep. No man that I had ever slept with since then has ever made it as a serious boyfriend for very long. In the past decade alone, I had completely removed any type of serious relationship from my life altogether. I was done. I would sleep with them, but I was gone before they had a chance to open their eyes the next morning. Finlay was an interesting man. He was born in Ireland, and yet lived all his life in England. He was a wealthy heir, but recently life had taken a turn for him. He started throwing things away or donating what he did not need. He was tired of living in an old, large home all by himself. His parents had both died, his mother rather recently. With no siblings and a throng of fake friends, he felt incredibly alone. He had been going through his own awakening that led him to the mountains. I listened quietly, fully engaged in what he had to say. I was amazed at the similarities between our experiences. To the outside world, we were complete opposites, being brought up in a dissimilar manner with different circumstances. But underneath that exterior and the fact that we resided in different continents, our awakenings seemed to coincide greatly. What about you, Miss Cat? What are you doing with your life when you are not being incredibly brave? He asked me. The stars were out and twinkling above our heads. I had already eaten some stew and had plenty of water. I was starting to get sleepy. I stretched out on the blanket I had been sitting on. Lying on my back with my hands behind my head, I gazed upward, trying to catch a glimpse of heaven. I am trying to write a book. I'm halfway done with it, but still haven't found a suitable title, I said. He slowly, as if not to overwhelm me, made his way to my side to lay down next to me. Propped up on his side, elbow holding his head up, he looked down at me, smiling. You are quite the ambitious one, Cat. What is your book about? His eyes pierced mine. I had to look away. It was like I was looking into the depths of his soul. My awakening, but through a fictional story, I explained as I gazed back up at the night sky. I would like to read that when you are done, he said. I will send you the manuscript. You will have to leave your address. I smiled up at him. How about I just stay here and you can read it to me when you are done? He suggested. I looked up at him dumbfounded. Why would he want to stay here? Surely he had things he had to get back to in England. He should not change any part of his life for me, even if I was his one. You don't want to stick around here just to wait for me to finish my story. It may take a long time, I said. No, not just for the story. His smile was gone, and a smoldering, tender gaze took its place. I held my breath as all I could think of was his lips on mine. It had been so long since I had been kissed. I doubt I had ever been properly kissed in all my life. I would like to give you a proper kiss, he said, reading the depths of my thoughts. Before I could respond, his lips were upon mine, caressing my own. It was the softest, sweetest, most compelling kiss I had ever experienced in my life. He gently deepened the kiss, and energy soared throughout my body. I was tingling. I was radiating. His kiss left me shaking when he pulled up to look down at me. It was too short. I wanted more. For the first time in my life, I wanted all of someone. I wanted everything this man wanted to give me. I was ready and open to receive the depths of his love. This love vibrated through my blood, pumping and surging through my veins. I was hungry and desperate to feel his heart merge with mine. Kat, he said in barely a whisper. I reached up to him and placed my hands on his cheeks. He visibly reacted to my touch and shivered. Yes, I breathed. This is going to change everything about our existence. He looked at me knowingly. I sure hope so. A strangled cry escaped the back of my throat as he lowered his head for another kiss. This time the kiss was more powerful. It was a spark that ignited a wildfire within my soul. A ball of light that began in my heart and lit up my entire body. It was like an out-of-body experience, but I was very much present in the moment. He reached up to gently tug my hair as a moan escaped my mouth, and he found my neck. Soft kisses were spread up and down my neck as his need was getting more and more urgent. He pulled my hoodie down as he kissed my newly exposed shoulders. I shivered, a combination of the cold air and his delicious torture. I'll keep you warm, love, he said roughly as he moved his body directly over top of mine. He was propped up on his arms to prevent from putting all his weight on me. But just that simple movement engulfed my body in warmth that felt like a soft blanket. This man was amazing. I began to reach up and pull his t-shirt over his head. I wanted his skin on mine. I craved his body in this new and fascinating way. No man had ever filled me with this much desire before in my life. He granted my wish as he hastily pulled his shirt over his head and tossed it aside before working on getting me out of my tank top and bra. There we were, skin on skin, bare chest upon bare chest, both panting with need, both helplessly in love with the person whose energy fit the other so perfectly. This man was handmade for me. He captured my mouth again for a passionate kiss. While locked in that kiss, his hands began trailing down my stomach, his fingertips dancing along the way. He reached my jeans and began to unbutton them. "Do you want me to make love to you?" he asked, coming up for air. He wanted to be sure I was ready for such a union of our bodies. I shook my head. He gazed into my eyes, fully ready to stop, but seemed to know what I meant and kissed my forehead. "I need you to make love to me," I cried. That was all the permission he needed. He left me long enough to help me pull down my pants and underwear, followed by his own. He got on his knees in between my legs and leaned down to kiss me so gently. "I have waited my whole life to make love to you, Kat," he whispered in my ear through fistfuls of hair. I could not respond, as he immediately pulled me in for another kiss. I wrapped my arms around his neck just as he entered me. I could not recall the last time I had ever slept with a man. Finley reached in and ripped all memory of past lovers away. Even Martin faded from view, forever lost in the depths of the trash can of unnecessary memories. Nothing mattered right now, just this man. As I locked my legs over his hips and welcomed each thrust, I saw our future together in the eyes that were fixed on mine. This wasn't just a union. This was a reunion. We had known each other for thousands of years. We were together from the beginning of the universe. A flood of memories flashed through my mind. Memories from other lives. Memories from this life. It all flashed before me in his eyes, like I was watching it on a big screen. I bit my lip and held on tight. Making love to Finley was like an awakening in itself. Our bodies seemed specially made to fit the others. Every touch, every caress of the mouth seemed to have been predicted and put in motion years before our coming together. We knew each other intimately. We knew where to touch. We knew where to kiss. We knew what our mission was. Our mission was that of messengers. We were to spread light and love wherever we went in the sole purpose of raising the vibrational levels of those around us so we could all ascend together as a whole. We were all connected, all a part of one another. But this man and I right here, we were one. Our souls merged. Instead of being two identical soulmates, we became one. One that shined brighter than the sun itself. Then, the explosion. White light engulfed both of us. I saw inward to our inner makings. Within our bodies held the maps to the stars that led us to each other in the form of our blood vessels. Our blood vessels were constellations trapped deep inside. Our blood coursed through our veins and our hearts beat as one as we let out shouts of love as we found our release. And just like that, our reunion was complete. I had no words. Neither did he. Just this overwhelming feeling of accomplishment. This incredible feeling of completion. We did it. We joined together to make one. He reached out for me and pulled me close to him. I laid my head on his chest, listening to his galloping heart as he kissed the top of my head. We laid there watching the dying fire pop and crackle as the flames got the very last of their energy out. We were completely satisfied. I can't believe you want me like this. I broke the silence. Why would you say that, love? He began to rub my back in the most loving way. I have these ugly stitches and bruises. I've lost teeth. I used to be so much more beautiful. It's cruel that you get to see me at my worst upon meeting me. You are beautiful, love. Stitches are removed. Bruises fade. Teeth are just teeth. You are a very lucky creature indeed. You are absolutely breathtakingly beautiful on the outside, but on the soul level, you are beyond lovely. You captured me with your beautiful soul, and that is how I recognized you as mine, he told me. Don't worry though, I will have some work done and then you will see just how I'm supposed to look, I stated matter-of-factly. Scars will show how incredibly brave and strong you are, he said, moving his hand up to run his fingers through my hair. The gentle touch was putting me to sleep. Don't try to alter your appearance just because you think people will like you more. I happen to love you, and I think you are perfect just the way that you are, he whispered as I was falling into the deep sleep of post-lovemaking exhaustion. I could feel the bright light surrounding both of us. We were one. Him telling me that he loved me troubled me. The last person to tell me that they loved me was Shaun. How could I do this to him? All he wanted was a family. All he wanted was to marry his soulmate. I had just reunited with my soulmate. He had as well, so we were even. I could not begin my life with Finley if Shaun was still in a coma. How could I do that to him after all that he had done for me? How was this fair? How could I carry on like this? My eyes flew wide open several hours later. Finley was softly snoring next to me. The picture of Shaun seconds before the accident was fully lodged in my mind. I couldn't do this, even after this beautiful reunion. As much as it pained me to leave, I had to go. With my stealth moves I had learned over the years, I carefully got up and started retrieving articles of clothing in the dark. The sun was barely ready to rise off in the distance, so I had a little illumination. I slipped on my pants and shoes while I was trying to find my tank and hoodie. I found them and held them to my chest as I made one final glance at the beautiful, sleeping man on the ground with tears in my eyes. I walked up the hill before I put my bra and tank on. I was in the exact spot where we had met. The tears began to fall as I pulled my hoodie on. I zipped it up and said a silent prayer that I could remember the way out. It took me an hour, but I managed to find my way back to Shaun's truck. I started it up and just let the tears go. It's not my turn to have my happily ever after. It's my turn to run.